Well, so this is the new project. It's kind of a funny story on how I acquired this thing, but as you guys can see, it's been down. Mechanically, it's solid. It's only got one issue, which I do have the part on order for. Should be getting that Monday. Is it needs a new starter relay, which is underneath the seat. The relay would just click and click and click. It seems like it's going out. It just didn't really want to start, and the guy that I bought it from had to push start it a few times in third gear. And after that, it was fine. We tested the voltage on the battery. You know, the battery checks out okay so far anyways. It is a smaller battery. But I scored on this thing. I got a really damn good deal on it. I'm really, really happy with the deal that I got on it. I knew I would end up buying another sport bike at some point, a real one, and not a Ninja 300 or a 250 or anything like that. This is a legitimate sport bike. It's not, it's right below the 600RR. This is the F4i, which is, it's more of a, I mean, it's not an upright riding position, but it is more upright than the RR is. It's still got an aggressive riding position. Your gut is right over the gas tank. You know, you're slanted forward. It's a straight up street bike. What I was looking at online, they rated these things at about 110 horsepower. Now to put that in perspective, that Ninja 300 I had, I think had about 30 and change. Maybe the mid 30s. The other Honda I've got, the NC 700, that puts out about, I don't know, somewhere in the 40s, maybe the 50s. This bike is a lot quicker. It'll almost damn near do 70 in first gear. It's quick. I've had to really be careful with it. It is kind of a good idea when you're, you know, on the highway and it's, you know, safe to do so in a straight line. It is a good idea to kind of get a feel for the bike or whatever the hell you're riding, because you definitely don't want to whiskey throttle it on accident in town. So you kind of want to know what the power output and power delivery, how it's going to handle. You really want to know how that's going to all work out. It's got 41,000 miles. There's a guy on YouTube that has one of these, and his has almost 300,000 miles on it. He bought it brand new, and all he's done to it is done stuff with the transmission. I forget exactly what he did to the transmission. I can't remember if he had it rebuilt or not, but he said that it's still the original motor, original internals. So these are really good motors. One of my coworkers was telling me about this bike a little bit, and he had the RR of the same year, and he said that these motors are very solid motors. The other thing that came out good with this thing is, go ahead and turn it on. That's the starter relay. That's what it does. It just doesn't really want to work sometimes. But one thing that really came out good with this bike is the guy, in addition to the brand new tires, had a complete valve service done on it. So the motor is really tight. He had the dealership do it. The dealership came back and said everything was great. And get on it right back to the house. Show you guys some of the stuff that he gave me with it. But yeah, let's throw a leg over and get back to the house. Probably the best part about this bike, other than, you know, how it looks, which is obviously a bad thing, it's not that big of a deal to me. At least as far as riding it around goes, because yeah, it needs a little bit of work. It's kind of an eyesore, but I kind of like it. You know, I like how it looks naked without those fairings on it, and I have not decided yet if I want to get the fairings for it. Obviously I want to get another one of these and another tail, but you know, this is like a fuck around bike. I mean, I could restore it and, you know, make it look pretty again, but I don't know. I really don't know what I want to do with this thing just yet. I did order some stuff for it. It needs a new levers, so I have those on the way. I ordered some frame sliders for it, which were cheap as chips. Holy shit. I can't believe how cheap a lot of the stuff is for this thing. Let's see if I can get out of here without eating shit. This is the fun part. Slide around a little bit. And of course we have the anti-motorcycle driveway. Oh nice, it actually has a working fuel gauge. I didn't realize that. I'll have to show you guys some of the stuff about this thing at the house. But she's quick. I think I forgot to put my chin straps on my helmet. Damn it. Already at 55, boys. Got power in every gear. Alright, boys. So this is the bike back here in the garage. I've already got a few parts on order for it. New brake and clutch levers are on the way. Frame sliders. A few other small things. Nothing too major. The relay, which I talked a little bit about earlier, which is under the seat, that's on the way. Their little relay, Honda wanted over $100 for it. And I found it on Amazon for $7, so I'll try my luck with $7 first and see what happens. Get you guys a closer look. Here's the instrument cluster. The fuel gauge is right there on the left. 4 to 1,000 miles. It's got a couple idiot lights for oil and everything else. Neutral. There's your brights. Turn signals. And then down there on the right is an actual temperature readout for the coolant. That's kind of cool. Seems to run at about 200 degrees if it's just sitting and all warmed up, and then as soon as I start riding it around, it goes down to about $1.70. So that's kind of nice. There are a few things that I do want to do to this thing. I haven't really decided yet if I like the naked look or not. So I haven't really looked into too much about getting a new fairing kit for it. But I haven't really decided yet, just if I want to do a full fairing kit on it or kind of leave it naked. But I do know that I want to swap out the tail. The tail's kind of messed up, as you guys can see, and the front end as well. These are really easy to swap out though. So when that comes around, you guys will know about it, because I'll be making videos on this thing regardless. As it turned out, the guy that I bought this from was one of my motorcycle safety course instructors, and he didn't remember me because me and my buddy took the course back in July, and they funnel people through that course all the time. But we remembered him. He's just a really cool dude. He knew exactly what he was talking about. He knew everything that he was talking about, and knew just about everything about the bike. And he originally wanted to make it into a track bike, but that didn't happen. Kind of got to where we all get to, or getting to too many projects at once, and a bunch of things end up happening and take priority. So he did give me some goodies with it. These are the stock Sprockets. It has a 520 chain on it. He's 90% sure, which is a stock chain size for this bike. But the Sprockets are actually a little bit more aggressive, because the RPMs stay in a more, I don't want to say a more usable power range, but they stay a little bit higher than normal. And that was from the owner before him that had laid the bike down. He put all that stuff on it, and that guy that he bought it from, he bought this as his first bike, and it was just too much of a bike for him. And, well, it ended up happening, and he was squidding it up too, wasn't wearing any gear except a helmet. And when he went down on his left side, it took all the skin off his arm and his shoulder. He didn't break any bones or get too hurt other than that, but, that's just another reason why I choose to wear all the gear all the time. But anyways, more onto the goodies. He gave me all 4 of these quarts of oil and a brand new Honda oil filter. This is 20W50 oil, And it's just perfect for this temperature range. 10W40 or 20W50 does pretty much the same thing here. And so that's nice. So I'll be changing the oil. You guys will see a video on that at some point. He also gave me this service manual here, this climber one. Claimed he paid $70 for it. I wasn't aware that these were that expensive, but it's just like a Chilton. Tells you everything about it. I do have a digital one from Honda on my computer that I was able to find on the internet, but it's always kind of nice to have one of these in hand. And now on to the stuff that he put onto the bike. And the new tires, which he had mounted and balanced, came out to $50.63. I'm assuming he bought the tires somewhere else and ended up having them just install them, because there's not a receipt in here for the tires. So it's likely that he went to one of the motorcycle supply stores in town and picked up the tires there and had them put on. And then we have here is the charge for the sprockets, the stock ones that he bought. These are the part numbers. And then we have the total bill for the valve adjustment, which was about $400. And two of the intake valves were out of adjustment. They were too tight apparently. He had that done back in May. So it's been a little while. There's only about 50 miles or so on this valve clearance check. So that's more than good enough for me. I think they're due every 16,000, something like that. I'm not too sure. I'll have to look that up, but it's kind of nice to have all this stuff on hand. I don't know that I'm going to change out these sprockets just yet. I might just ride them and, wait till they wear out and then throw these stock ones on. This is going to be a fun project. What I like about bikes opposed to cars, they're cheaper to insure. Parts are somewhat cheaper. So you can have a lot more fun on a bike. And you can pick up a really nice bike. This thing is faster than most cars out there on the road today. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to have, a motorcycle project going. But the benefit of this one is that other than that issue that it has starting from time to time, it runs good. This thing, it runs like a clock. There is no issues with the engine at all. And it's an absolute blast to ride. It's nothing like riding this one. It's quite a bit faster. As far as doing a full restore on it goes, I haven't really decided on that yet. Some of the parts I ordered off Amazon were new brake and clutch levers, as I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. Because when the bike went down, this one is kind of bent. It needs to be changed out. It's just ugly. It's all messed up. And then these bar ends, I actually have a pair from this bike, because this one has, but the original bar ends were sitting inside of the compartment, so that's going to be good. A little bit less money that I'll have to spend. I might switch out these grips eventually, but they're not all that damaged or anything, so I'm not really too worried about it yet. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely going to be a fun bike for me, just fixing it up and riding it around. So we'll see where it goes, and you guys will see a bunch of videos on this thing, that's for sure. So you all stay classy. Stay tuned for more.